Now other balances you will want to look at will include bank balance, okay, and maybe the audit of inventory. Just a small part there. Subsequent event, as I mentioned earlier, is very likely a featured topic. There's an article that just arrived in the April 2011 student accountant, so students should look out for that subsequent event article. There's another article that covers the clarity auditing standard. Students should also take a look at these two articles in the April 2011 issue of the student accountant. Other miscellaneous topic, I put it at the end, maybe the engagement letter, procedure for removal of auditors, and the letter of weakness, right? The letter of weakness, it will be covered under the article that just came out. So students should be aware of the standard covering 265 and communication of audit matters 260. Right, I hope this area of F8 will help you to focus. Now, I move on to the paper P7, the Advanced Audit and Assurance paper. Here is a very different ball game because we have this examiner since December 07 and therefore a total of 3.5 years. So you have plenty of her past year paper. Now the format of exam, like what the examiner always emphasizes, it will be case study, scenario, short cases, short story, and it will cover application. Okay? Maybe the theory, definition, and concept may take up 20%, but at P7, probably 80% of the paper, you will see application-based question. So besides gaining knowledge, I guess like what the examiner advised, practice lots of questions is the key strategy. Again, in the next slide, I will cover the key areas, talking some changes in the syllabus, and what's important for this coming June exam. Right, let's go into the key areas for P7. Now, ethics is always featured as a standalone question in the P7 exam. So out of the 5 questions, students are required to do only 4. Most students will want to attempt this ethics question. Then there's an acceptance and continuance decision. An article has been published recently on this topic and it's written by the examiner herself. So students should be familiar with some of these things covered in the article called Acceptance and Continuance Decision. Risk identification, a must for P7. So we will look at that important topics later. Strategies for auditing, accounting issues and accounting problems. So that will lead to the audit procedure relating to those accounting issues. And we have other assurance or other related service. Now this is something that's probably will be heavily emphasized at P7. Students should be aware of that. Every year, every exam in P7, there should be a reporting issue and a current issue incorporated into probably a question, 1 or 2. Now, for the change in syllabus, what have this June 2011 done? Now, for the P7, again, if you go through the examiner's interview and the slides, there's no significant changes in terms of the content and the exam format. Okay? In January and February, again, I strongly advise you to read the articles by the examiner, Lisa. She talked about the change, what she expects, and then the question requirement. Well, after reading that, you will realize that bulk of the syllabus is still there. Okay? Maybe there's some new addition. So specifically, I want you to probably focus on the group audit. Okay? Now again, in April 2011, there's a new article that just released on group audit that covering the standard 600. And also in this article, you have to cover the audit of the consolidation, the risk involved when you have an audit of a group using the work of a component auditors and so on. Now, also addition, even in this June 2011 new syllabus, there's an impact of internal audit. So you talk about the benefit and advantage and disadvantage of outsourcing IA and the ethical implication. Something like what we said earlier in the FA paper, but at this level, it will be probably a scenario based with application question. Topics deleted. Now, although we say that these topics have been deleted, but frankly speaking, it's only a small little part of those areas. In other words, practice management is still in the syllabus. In other words, we still need to focus on talk about quality control, SQC1 and the standard 220. but the emphasis will be more focused. Right? So I don't think that there will be a significant change in the P7 syllabus. Now the important topics for this coming June 2011 exam, let's look at some of the things here. I'm looking at the area of identification of audit risk. Now if you do audit risk, everyone should also be familiar with the financial statement risk. And when you have analytical procedure thrown in, then you will need to use analytical procedure in assessing the risk of material misstatement. I'm looking at also internal audit, a new topics so-called emphasized in the new syllabus, including outsourcing and the external auditing relying on the work of the internal auditor. Due diligence and group audit is always captured together, because after doing a due diligence, there could be an acquisition, and as a result, you will have a group. So everyone should be familiar with the due diligence project, the assurance service that we give, that include using analytical procedure and inquiry to do due diligence work. And then in the group audit, as I mentioned, the article in April 2011 is a must, and indeed it covers the whole range of ISA 600, which is the group auditor, and using the work of another auditor. Next, the special topic on forensic audit and probably some theory on money laundering. Now, forensic audit is also a special topic, and you should focus on this coming June exam. So, past year paper starts in December 07, and there are 2 or 3 papers relating to forensic audit. Professional ethics, the usual independence, and I will look at conflict of interest as one of the newly added syllabus in the June 2011 exam. So out of these 5 questions, students should be aware that they have to answer question 1 and 2, and then in question 3, 4, 5, they are expected to choose only 2 questions. Okay, so make a choice and make full use of your reading time. Now, lastly, I will end up with these last 2 special topics for this June exam. You have a project on audit of PFI, prospective financial information, and the audit reporting. Now, audit reporting, students should also be aware of the limitation of the audit report. Okay, so take a look at one of the past year paper relating to this. Now, for audit reporting, given a scenario, you'll be asked what type of opinion that you will be giving to this type of situation, or you may be asked, given an audit opinion, what is wrong with this opinion? Why is this opinion not appropriate, or is this opinion suitable for the scenario? All right. So with the ethics question thrown in and the risk question, doing some topic on reporting, focusing on the group audit, accepting a client and declining the client, I guess that will be the key focus for this June 2011 exam. Right? Now, if you have any question, I guess student, you still have 1.5 months or 5 weeks to your exam, feel free to drop by and visit us at FTMS, or if you can, you attend the revision class, which will start in the first week of May. Right? With that, I wish you all the best in the coming June exam, and have a nice day.